in this episode. And I'm not going to bury the lead on this. Mark Hamill is exactly who you dream he will be. Like you want him so badly to be wonderful and kind, and like you kind of want a little bit of that Jedi wisdom, you know? And he's got it. I got to work with Adam West. He was exactly who you wanted him to be, and he was like, John Bowie and I sat on the couch while in the guy's apartment, while Adam West sat on the other side of the couch and was just like talking about being Adam West, right? And like John and I were just like, and Adam West was just telling stories about being Adam West. So on this, we also got to experience it with Bob Newhart. Sitting at a table while Bob Newhart is like, oh yes, and then in 1960 blah, I was talking to Dick Cavett, and I'm like, I can't believe this happening. Okay, so every Tuesday we film the show. Every Wednesday morning we go in and we sit around a big table and we read the new episode, and everybody is there. All the actors are there, the studio's there, the network is there, everyone's there, and it's the writer's first opportunity to hear these words kind of live with all the actors and guest stars. And when we go in for table reads, I always sit on this side of the table next to Kunal and across from Jim and Kaylee. That's where I sit every single time. And I go to my place and there's somebody else's name there, and I was like, this is weird. And one of the ADs says, I just moved you to the other side, it'll make sense later on today. I said, okay. So I go and I sit down, and here comes Mark Hamill. And she has moved me to sit next to Mark Hamill because she knows. She knows two things. She knows that I'm the biggest Star Wars fan in this entire stage, right? And she also knows that I'm the one who can kind of keep it together. So we're reading through the thing, and I'm just like, the whole time, right? There's like this little dude sitting on my shoulder, like, that's Mark Hamill right next to you! I was like, I know, can you believe it? So there's a line in the script. What happens in the story is that Wil Wheaton is gonna do their wedding, is gonna perform their wedding, and Sheldon at the last minute fires him and hires Mark Hamill because Mark Hamill becomes available. There's a great joke where Amy says, I mean, I don't know if that's really an upgrade. It's like another white guy with a beard. It feels kind of like a lateral move. Really funny line. So I go up to Mark Hamill, right? And I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? Yeah, you took my job. That's really fucking great, dude. And Mark Hamill takes a beat, deadpans, I'm sorry, who are you? It's so funny. So this happens in the table read, and Mark Hamill stops the table read. He stops, and he puts his hand on my shoulder, and he looks at me and he says, I'm so sorry. Of course I know who you are. And then he looks out at the whole assembled everybody there, and he goes, of course I know who this man is. And I was like, I'm done. That's it. Just, I am now officially dead. And I went over to Nikki, who put me there when it was all over, and I was like, if you ever need anything for the rest of your life, you need a guy killed, I got it. You need a guy buried, I'm on it. You need somebody to pick a kid up from school early in the morning. You have no idea what it means for me to say that I will do that. And it was wonderful, and it was incredibly memorable, and it is one of my favorite stories to tell. So thanks for the opportunity. Knowledge of what is current is massively out of date. I have not actually sat down and played anything new with anybody in a number of years. A couple of games that I'm real late to the party on, but really love. There's a game called Trails that I absolutely love. It's a quick, small, sort of resource management game that's really beautiful. It's a smaller version of a game called Parks that's also incredibly fun. I'm super late to the party on Wingspan, but that's unbelievably fun to play. It's a little bit bigger. I bought but have not yet played Starfarers of Catan. I think the Star Trek Catan is the best version of Settlers of Catan. I think it fixes all the things that we don't like about Catan. And my friend was telling me that Starfares does it even better. And she was like, yo, I will come over and teach you this game. So the next big one is my friends and I are trying to convince my wife that Carcassonne is not as complicated as she thinks it is. That's my fault because I tried to introduce farm scoring before she was ready for it. It's 100% my bad. So we're working on that. If anyone comes to see me at my table over the weekend and there's something new that you're playing that you love, I would be delighted to hear what it is, because I have a small but growing list of things that I want to pick up at the game shop.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, what's your name? What's your question?
Wait, hold on. I'm letting
You got it. Take your time, girl. My name is Akita, and your character in Prodigy, Wesley, was very timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite doctor from Doctor Who?
I do.
Why? Who and why?
I grew up watching Tom Baker. About 3 years ago, I rewatched The Ark in Space for the first time since I originally saw it, and turns out it's not as terrifying as it was when I was 7 or 8 or however old I was when I watched it. Tennant's Doctor is my favorite. Every Doctor is amazing in their own way. Like, I love them all for different reasons, and they're all great. Every companion is wonderful in their own way. I think there's an impulse in nerd culture to like have really fun kind of like battle royales about which one is better and why. I kind of don't have time for that in my life anymore. Everyone's favorite Doctor is valid, and like you get to have your one that's favorite. But Tennant's Doctor just came along at a moment when that's what I needed. I needed that energy. I needed that idea, and I needed that philosophy in my life. So when Prodigy came around, I got to consult on how Wesley was going to be developed. One of my friends is a writer on the show, and she called me and she said, I wondered if we could have a conversation about what you think about Wesley. And I was like, well, as a matter of fact, I've been writing fan fiction about Wesley as a Traveler for years. And I have a ton of ideas. And I said, I've always thought that the Travelers were Star Trek's Time Lords. That Time Lords use the TARDIS to move around, but Travelers use space-time and thought to move around. It's the same principle, just enacted differently. And I said, that's what I think, and that's what I've imagined him as, and that's what I've tried to bring to this, my fan fiction that I write. And it turns out that they were all leaning in the same direction. And when we realized that everybody was on board with the same thing, then all of these wonderful opportunities to like actually wink at Doctor Who arrived, right? I mean, it's not a coincidence that Wesley and Gwyn are running, right? While Wesley's got that lovely jacket on that's trailing out behind him. It's not a coincidence that Dal says things are wibbly wobbly. Like, that's not a coincidence. Like, we all love Doctor Who. It is not a coincidence that there is a Doctor Who Star Trek crossover panel at Comic-Con in San Diego this weekend. I don't know if there's going to happen anything between the two franchises are going to happen. But my friend Jen Moreau, who is a writer on Prodigy, I texted her when I saw the episode, and I told her what I told all of you earlier about how much I loved Wesley and how wonderful it was and what a gift it was. And she said that she was so grateful that I got it, that I understood who Wesley was, that I understood what Wesley represented to so many people, and that I was on board with the Time Lord aspect of his character. And she said, I like to think of him as the 16th Doctor, but in the Trek universe. And I was like, I'm extremely on board with that. and she said, the only difference is that like our Doctor doesn't have two hearts. And then about a minute later, she texted me back. I take that back. He does have two hearts. One heart belongs to Wesley Crusher, and one heart belongs to you. That is what I said.
Good question. All right.
Have you stopped by the TARDIS yet?
No, I've only been here for about 2 hours, and I've only been awake for about 30 minutes. Oh, thank you.
You're up. What's your name? What's your question?
Hey, my name is Matt. There is a VR 3D tabletop D&D game called Demio I want you to check out, but I also have a question. My question, I hope it's not too redundant, what is your favorite part? What was your favorite part of working on The Big Bang Theory? Not like a story or moment, but your favorite general part.
When I was cast to work on The Big Bang Theory, I didn't want to play a version of myself. I wanted to play a character. I said to Bill Prady, I would really prefer to play a character the way Sarah Gilbert plays a character or John Bowie plays a character. And he said, I completely get that. I understand actors never want to play themselves. You want to imagine you're someone else. And he said, when I'm casting someone that fits your demo, I will bring you in for sure. But you're the only person who can play Wil Wheaton. And that's who I want for this episode. And I was like, oh, okay, I understand that. Called a friend of mine and I was like, what do I do? And my friend, who I love, is like, you fucking say yes! What's wrong with you? It's one of the first times I've worked, it might be the first and it may actually be the only time that I've worked for a big thing that wasn't Star Trek, right? Where I felt like I was worthy, where I felt like they were happy that I was there. That it was special that I was doing this. They made me feel like, they just made me feel like I was part of their family, and that's rare. And for someone who's just always kind of looking for that, it was a really wonderful place to feel at home. Yeah, thank you.
What's your question?
Hey, good morning. I'm Hopper. I got Joyce over here.
I got that. Love your cosplay.
Yeah,
Nice
you're
work.
not the Will we're looking for.
I understand.
Curiosity on
You know, if you take the beard off, you might mistake me for 11. It's happening. Right? Or Rachel Maddow, that also happens too.
All right, kid.
I'm good with either of those.
So curiosity though, the popularity of Stranger Things and what D&D it had in it.
Yeah.
I'm curious as your opinion of what that's done to the D&D and the whole tabletop RPG world as a whole.
I'm really thrilled. You know, the way that they played D&D in the first season reminded me a lot of the way that D&D was represented in E.T., which I don't think was coincidental. I thought it was a really beautiful demonstration of what it was like to play back then, right? I love the increased visibility it brought and how kids who otherwise would not have sought it out had an excuse to. I don't know what the correlation is between the rise of it and then all of the other popular live plays that are happening all at the same time, but you know, as we've been talking about since we did tabletop 10 years ago, we're having a moment. RPGs and TTRPGs are having a moment, and it's terrific. And if that exposed kids to role playing, which is about using your imagination and about storytelling, that's great. That is a wonderful, wonderful, unexpected benefit of that show.
Awesome. Thank you.
What's your name? What's your question?
Hi, my name is Henry.
Hi.
What advice would you have for getting into acting?
I'm not sure why they're laughing. That's a great question. You have to ask yourself why you want to do it and what it lights up inside of you that nothing else does. When you know the answer to that question, you will have a better idea of why you are drawn to being an artist, why you're drawn to being a person who pretends for a living. And it's really fun. Like, it's right, that's wonderful. You still have a childhood to experience. Do not give that up in pursuit of a career. The voice of experience will tell you that it hurts for the rest of your life and you'll miss it forever. So, if you want to perform, you can perform in environments that are very low stakes where you get the joy of performing. You have local theater, community theater, drama club at school. You can meet your kinds of people, right? Like, if you're a weird drama nerd, and like a lot of us are, you will meet other people and you will immediately feel like, oh, I'm really with my people and this feels great. It is incredibly difficult to find success as an actor, especially now. It's always been difficult. It's probably harder than it's ever been right now. So rather than looking for financial success or critical success or those things, I encourage you to find performances that light you up, that make your heart sing, that you love. Learn about the history and the tradition of the theater and understand the great acting teachers. And if you continue to love that and you're like, oh my God, give me more, then you know that in your heart you're an actor and you're gonna find people who are going to be able to take what I've told you, which you will forget by the time you walk away from the microphone because it's a lot, but they'll mirror it back to you, and you'll know, oh, I'm in the right place, and I'm with the right people.
Very good.
Yeah. Hey, we have just under 15 minutes left, so here's how I like to end, all right? All of y'all who are still in line, get your questions in your head to be yes or no questions so we can get through all of you. Just yes or no. I realize that's a challenge, but I believe in you, we can do it. You don't have to do that because I just dumped it on you and then you're gonna panic, I know. So go ahead, but then the rest of you, if you can turn them into yes or no's, that would be great.
Hi, I'm Derek. I was just wondering if you had any fun stories from any of your lesser roles like Dark Matter or Eureka. Do you have any fun stories from those?
I'm going to push back and say they're not lesser roles. I'll say they're lesser known roles. Each of those shows has their like really dedicated fan bases that love them. Eureka was great. Eureka was another experience of being the work that I did with Felicia and Neil Grayston is some of my favorite that I've done on television. For all I talk about how I did not want to be an actor as a kid, and I'm joyously retired from on-camera acting. When I worked on these shows, I really did have a genuinely good time and still am close to a lot of the cast members. The thing that I really loved about Dark Matter was that I got to do so much with so little. That performance was so restrained that it made him terrifying to watch. So when we see that there's a person he's scared of, I will forever be bummed that we never got a resolution to that. Thank you.
All right, moving on.
All right, lightning round, let's do this.
Unfortunately, my question can't be a yes or no, but my name is Rebecca. I want to know if there's any prank stories from any of like Big Bang or Star Trek.
No. Next question.
Chris, 2 tabletop recommendations. Dorf Romantic, Ticket to Ride Legends of the Old West. Have you ever played a Legacy game in any favorite moment?
Yes, I loved Pandemic Legacy, the first one. I hated the second one so much I rage quit after like the 3rd round. I have a ton of Legacy games at home, but I have not yet played them.
My name is Janet, and I have a grandma question to ask.
I love grandma questions.
How did you enjoy Celebrity Jeopardy?
It was the most scared I've ever been in my life. So later this month, a bunch of us from Star Trek are on Celebrity Family Feud. Yeah, right? We played against the captains from Deadliest Catch. Steve Harvey comes up to me and he looks at his card and he goes, 2-time Jeopardy champion? And I said, yeah. And he goes, 2 times? And I say, Steve Harvey, if I didn't know any better, I would think you were kind of impressed by me right now. And Steve Harvey says, 2-time Jeopardy champion is not going to help you at all here.
Yes or no? Go ahead.
Tony, the gunship song, When We Grew Up Your Car Guys,
Yeah.
credited on. Is that you?
That is me, yes.
And did you like the outcome?
I loved it. I'm delighted with it. Gunship's got a new album out. They've got new videos out, and the Midnight's on tour right now. They're coming to LA.
Everybody have a wonderful con. Don't